Don't feel fucking to me. Don't feel fucking to me.
Hey guys, I'm Bubbles, and with the NFL season coming up shortly, as training camp's going on, people are wondering who are the best quarterbacks. So I've taken all the starting quarterbacks and quarterbacks who are mainly going to be starting, which is 36 of them, and I've decided to rank them into Fortnite Tiers, which is the silver, common, green, uncommon, blue, which is rare, purple, which is epic, and gold/orange, which is legendary. I put them into tiers based on skill, and any rookies I'm just basing off how I think they're going to be, but it's hard to tell with rookies, so no rookies are going to be past common or uncommon since they have done nothing yet in the NFL. So without further ado, let's go and rank all of the NFL quarterbacks into Fortnite tiers. The first tier we have is common or silver. Now this tier of players is a quarterback who is probably not very good. They haven't shown off a lot. You're not going to have this quarterback carry you into the playoffs or get you to a Super Bowl. Just like a common silver gun isn't going to be something you really want to use at the end. And if this quarterback is something, or this gun is something that you're using in the playoffs, you're probably having a stellar team. These quarterbacks are either unproven rookies who don't look very good, or just other quarterbacks who have been doing garbage or haven't proven anything. On the common silver list, we have Josh McCown, Josh Allen, AJ McCarron, Mitch Trubisky, and Patrick Mahomes. I'm just going to go over a few of them. We have Patrick Mahomes. He plays for the Chiefs, hasn't really proven much, and definitely won't live up to Alex Smith. Doesn't have a lot to pass to. Obviously has Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, but besides that, there's really no other bigger targets. You could say, oh, this guy is going to be doing good, whatever, and Kareem Hunt might be an option, but he's not really going to be able to replace Alex Smith, in my opinion. Mitch Trubisky, all right quarterback, but definitely not past common. Josh McCown is Josh McCown, and so is AJ McCarron. Both two quarterbacks who have been playing for a while and are both pretty much garbage. And then we have Josh Allen, who is a rookie coming from Wyoming, who I believe is overrated. He can throw the ball far, that's great, but I don't think he's a very good leader, and I don't think he's accurate enough to be in the NFL. And for the Bills, they're not looking good with both of their quarterbacks who might be starting, Josh Allen and AJ McCarron, in my opinion, in the common section of all the quarterbacks. I just don't think these five guys are very good. I don't think that they deserve to get any higher, and they're all just players who haven't proven themselves yet, or when they've played have done garbage. So that's why they're in the common tier. Next up, we have the uncommon or green tier, and I've separated the uncommon green tier into two separate areas: the rookies and the more veteran quarterbacks. So we have Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield with the rookies, and then the other players in the uncommon are Jameis Winston, Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, and Blake Bortles. So first, let's look at the rookies. Now we have Josh Rosen, who's going on the Cardinals, who's going to have some stiff competition with Sam Bradford, who, as you should know, did pretty well with the Vikings. But I think Josh Rosen probably has the best situation because his team, I believe, is the best, and he's going to have Larry Fitzgerald to guide him as a wide receiver, and he's going to have Sam Bradford who will hopefully help him come into his own as a quarterback. Also think he is one of the best quarterbacks. Next up, there's Sam Darnold on the Jets. Jets aren't very good, but I think Sam Darnold's an all-right quarterback. Played for USC, and I think maybe one day he might be in the rare, even epic ranking. Then last, we have Baker Mayfield, who plays for my Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns may have been 0-16 last year, but I believe that this year they are going to be a lot better with some good pickups. And I think that Baker Mayfield, since he's going to have a leader in Tyrod Taylor to bring him up, is also eventually going to be a rare, maybe even epic, and bring the Cleveland Browns some wins. Then we have the other uncommons, which are Jameis Winston, Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, and Blake Bortles. These players, these quarterbacks, are all not very good. They have really been going down. Joe Flacco used to be Super Bowl MVP. Now he's just a kind of bad quarterback who doesn't finish off games. Eli Manning was garbage last year, and he had to be replaced out, and he can't do much without Odell Beckham, which is why he's really uncommon, kind of like an uncommon gun. Not good on its own. Eli Manning, not good on its own. But when he's paired up with other players, he can be amazing. Blake Bortles, you could say he's a rare, but I don't think Blake Bortles is that good. He's one of the players that I was on the fence with, and I don't think he's good enough, though, to be a rare gun. A rare gun a rare tier is someone who can, without great wide receivers, do good, but I don't think Blake Bortles can do that. And then last up we have Jameis Winston, who is definitely not a very good quarterback. Last year did not do very well, even with the amazing Mike Evans, did not do very well. He's had injuries, and as a quarterback in Tampa Bay, he's definitely not what was promised when he was drafted. They thought he was going to bring them lots of good plays, and most people thought he was going to be a good quarterback, but he's not turned out that, which is why he's an uncommon, and that's why all these players are uncommon, just because they're not good enough to really be a quarterback who brings the greatness out of their team. Okay, now we have the blue or rare tier quarterbacks. On this list, I put Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Alex Smith, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Jimmy Garoppolo, Marcus Mariota, Andy Dalton, Sam Bradford, Case Keenum, Tyrod Taylor, and Ryan Tannehill. Now, the blue tier is a group of quarterbacks who are nice, solid players who, in the right team, could go decently deep into the playoffs. By themselves, they're not going to carry your team and do amazing like a legendary or maybe even an epic would, but on a consistent basis, they can put up pretty good numbers and overall do well if they're put in the right situation. Some examples of players who I really think define this in this tier, who are the most blue, are guys like Marcus Mariota, Dak Prescott, Case Keenum, Tyrod Taylor. These guys are all right quarterbacks. Obviously, they're not going to do amazing. Players like Marcus Mariota and Tyrod Taylor are great runners, but they still have some gaps in throwing it deep. They might not always be the most accurate, and overall, they might not be the best leaders all the time. But they can still do well, and sometimes when they shine like Jimmy Garoppolo is doing now, since he's been 7-0, they can do good. And maybe even players like Jimmy Garoppolo, Marcus Mariota, you could say maybe Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, especially Deshaun Watson, maybe Dak Prescott, are going to be players who are going to evolve and maybe even become epic. Maybe a player like Jimmy Garoppolo, since it's his second, third year, he might become a legendary one day. But as of now, they still have holes in their game, still not the best. Players who are almost epics, not quite, like Kirk Cousins, Alex Smith, Derek Carr. They're good, they're consistent, but they can't quite reach that top tier. Players like Derek Carr is a great example. He doesn't always get the best pass, doesn't always find the most open man, sometimes relies too much on players like Amari Cooper. And players who I almost put in the uncommon, I was maybe going to put Ryan Tannehill or Andy Dalton, since they've been going worse, but they're still consistent quarterbacks who I think deserve to be in the rare tier, and I think are good. Also, Sam Bradford and Case Keenum, we're really going to see if they're a blue, epic, or uncommon. Well, I'm really unsure since they've only played this. Who are the Vikings, and they all did well. And that's also because the Vikings are a really good team, but we're going to see what they're really made of. And that's all these players I think are really deserving of the blue rare tier. Now, we have the epic purple tier. This is an elite class of players consisting of Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, Phillip Rivers, Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, and Jared Goff. I put these players here because I feel like sometimes they can carry their teams and they can do amazing things. Now, unlike a legendary, they're not always out there 100% amazing carrying their team. Oh, that's what a legendary does. An epic still has some times where they're not going to do amazing, but these quarterbacks are usually almost always going to be in the playoffs and decently deep. Players that I almost put in the legendary tier, Ben Roethlisberger, Carson Wentz, and maybe you could say Cam Newton. I at first put Jared Goff in the rare, but he really had quite an astounding season if you look back on it. He did have so many passing yards, and in fantasy football I had him and he did amazing. Some of the running quarterbacks here, we have Russell Wilson and Cam Newton. They're great in the air, and they can also do it in the ground. Cam Newton isn't always the best leader. That's why I didn't put him in the legendary. Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger and Matt Ryan are older, but they still are really good. You could maybe say Matt Ryan is a legendary, but not quite. Carson Wentz is still young, so he could definitely be a legendary, but as of now, we haven't seen everything from him. And then Andrew Luck has been hurt. So they still all, and Matthew Stafford, which I forgot to mention, is good, but he just doesn't have a great team. So he still has kind of carried his team a lot of the days, but not all of them. And you can see when he's gone, their team's not very good. All these players I went over, they're all amazing, and they all do really good, and their teams are all pretty good, besides the Colts, Andrew Luck's team. But they all still do have holes. Like Jared Goff and Andrew Luck, they're still young, as I said, and sometimes players like Phillip Rivers might go on a 5-interception game, but most of the time they'll do amazing. Players like Ben Roethlisberger might have those games where they just need to keep on hitting Antonio Brown because they have nothing else and they're not able to get those harder passes. Players like Russell Wilson might have to depend on their run game, but still, as epic quarterbacks, they are very good and very consistent players. But that doesn't mean they're not quite legendary. They're not quite that amazing all-star, celebrity, crazy good player. And that's what we're going to get into. Finally, we have the legendary tier. Now, earlier I said I might have put Matt Ryan here, maybe even Ben Roethlisberger, but I finally decided on these three players as legendary quarterbacks. Legendary quarterbacks are quarterbacks who are crazy good. They're always carrying their team. They're always taking them deep into the playoffs. Without them, their team is a lot worse, and they make their team better. They make everyone on their team better, and they make players look amazing. Here's who I have. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady. Now, obviously, you can see Tom Brady is, in many people's eyes, the GOAT. He's won so many championships. He's made so many amazing plays, and he's 42, but I still feel like he's a legendary, and I don't see him slowing down this season. I see him slowing down maybe a bit, but I still think he's going to be a top-tier quarterback. He has an amazing deep game. He can make players like Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman, who are still solid receivers, look incredible all-star receivers. Next up, we have Aaron Rodgers. He is incredible, making so many deep threat bombs, making players look really good. He makes everyone around him look really good. He has an amazing deep game, amazing short game, and you could see the impact when he was gone, when he was hurt this year. It really had an impact on the Packers. And you cannot forget about Drew Brees, an amazing quarterback in his own right as well, especially in the legendary tier. It's so sad that he lost to the Vikings, the Saints team, but he really helped them in a lot of ways to get to that point with his amazing, accurate passes. I feel like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have a deep arm. Tom Brady less, but Aaron Rodgers is a deep quarterback. Drew Brees has less of a deep arm, but he's so accurate with his passes. That's why he's a legendary player. I feel like all these players on any team would instantly make them better, give them at least 2, 3, at least one more win, and that's why they're legendary players. That is why they are the top, best golden scar that you're going to take to the end, win the Super Bowl, win the Victory Royale. Hope you guys agree with my list. If you don't, make sure to comment down in the comments what you would like to see, what you think your legendary tier is, what you think your epic, what you think your rare, uncommon, common player quarterbacks are. I might do this if you guys enjoy it with running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, defenses, anything like that. The reason there's 36 quarterbacks, or 35, I think it's 35, 36 on this list, is because some quarterbacks may or may not be starting, like Josh Rosen and Sam Bradford. They're going to be like switching off. So just have to see for that. But I think it's going to be an interesting season. I think it's going to be a very good quarterback-filled, crazy season with lots of high-intensity stakes. If you guys have any ideas for videos, make sure to leave them in the comments. But besides that, I'm Bubbles. I'm out. And remember, nobody likes weed.